relaxing yoga poses and breathing exercises you can do in your office between meetings.
Hello, welcome to the Virtual WIC Conference. My name is Dr. Erin English, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you some tips and tricks that might help you under stressful times. A little bit about myself, as I'm a recently retired executive director from a county office of education, and I spent 32 years in education. I was a school site administrator and then a district office administrator. And throughout my career, I have been faced with many challenges that were very stressful. So I've always turned to relaxation techniques rather than overeating or over drinking, which I could have done also, but I chose to do yoga and help practice breathing techniques to help me through stressful times. Yes, that's a hawk in my background. Thank you, hawk. I turn to things like breathing and meditation to get me through some of the more difficult times. One of the things that I went through not too long ago is we had, unfortunately, our house burned down. And as a result of that, during the time that it was actually burning down, we practiced a lot of the breathing techniques that you would normally use when you're a little bit stressed, but this was a heavy duty stress, and we were my husband and I were practicing these breathing techniques, and it actually alleviated a lot of the stress of what we were going through at the moment and the anxiety, the overwhelming feelings of anxiety that you go through when you're going through such a trauma. It really led me to believe that really we can get through most things, and it's all mind over matter, and the circumstances are always going to be there, but how we get through them and how we come through them is the testament of the work we have to do. So how do you get through? You're always going to get through something, but how do you get through it, and how do you live and move on with your life? So that's what I'm going to teach you, some of the techniques that I reach for during my stressful times when I was a school site administrator, and during the stressful things I've had happening in my own life. We'll be starting off with a short meditation, just to get ourselves grounded in the thinking and feeling of the present moment we're in right now. And then I'll be teaching you some breathing techniques that have helped me, and some just office exercises, just simple movements, things you could do just to get your body moving. I'm doing this to actually show you that's a technique. So you slap your sides, and that's just a technique you can use. Just simple techniques that you would do maybe before you walk into a stressful meeting or before you have to confront something that's equally stressful. So I'll be sharing those techniques with you. And I'll be sharing some resources with you, some books I've been reading, research I've done, and hopefully when you walk away from this session, you'll have something that you could use to make your life better in the future.
We're going to move over into Yoga Nidra, which is an effective yoga practice to reduce anxiety. It's also a useful tool in reducing cognitive and psychological symptoms of anxiety.
Hello again, and welcome to this part of the session. We'll be doing a little bit of Yoga Nidra, which is a guided meditation for total relaxation. Typically, Yoga Nidra is done in about 45 minutes or longer. So this is just to give you a flavor of what's possible. And it's something that you can do yourself, or you can listen to guided meditations online. There's a lot of YouTubes that have these, or the Calm app has them, and there's a lot of different places you can get the same type of meditation, and which will be much longer. So I'm going to ask you now to get into a very comfortable position. It could be seated with your feet on the ground and your hands in your lap, or you can lay down at this time. So I'll give you a second to get yourself comfortable. And what I'd like to do is invite you to either close your eyes or just focus on the screen where I have some beautiful scenery playing, and take a nice big inhale and fill your lungs up completely, and release the air with a sigh through the mouth. Do this a few more times, and take a really nice big inhale and fill the lungs completely, and release the air. And breathe like this for a few more breaths. And breathe this way until you feel that your body is getting relaxed. As you exhale, you're able to feel the parts of your body that you're holding on to tension, and release and relax. And then, if it's comfortable, begin to just slowly inhale and exhale through the nose. You can make your breath a little bit softer and slower, giving preference to the exhale, allowing the exhale to become longer than the inhale. And relaxing the muscles in the jaw, in the forehead, the shoulders, the legs. And we'll rotate the awareness through the body, relaxing the parts as we name them, starting from the crown of our head, and the space between your eyebrows, the space between your throat, the center of your chest, the space of your navel, your pelvis, both legs, and your toes, your whole face and your scalp, the inside of your ears and the outside of your ears, your cheeks, and the inside of your mouth, your shoulders, and both arms, and all of your fingers. Awareness and relaxation in the whole of the back of your body, and the whole of the front of your body. Relaxing the whole body. The whole body's relaxed. And resting in awareness. Take some small breaths. Breathe in and out. And put a smile on your face. And smile into your whole body. And take some deeper breaths. Gently flicker your eyes open. And scrunch your fingers and toes and come back. And the short guided practice is now over. You can get up, stretch, move about, and we will start getting ready for the next part of our session. Thank you so much for being part of this short relaxation session.
We're going to be moving into some breathing exercises that you could do to calm your nervous system. We're going to talk about focusing on your breath, which means just noticing your breath. We're going to be doing alternate nostril breathing and breath of fire. There's also another breathing technique we may not get to. It's called 4-part breath.
Hi, well, we're going to focus on our breath right now. I'm teaching you 3 different breath techniques, and these can be used in your office, at home, anytime, just to help you relax. The first thing we're going to do is just focus on our breath. So take a minute and just think about your breath for a second. Just breathe in, breathe out, and see what your normal breath is. Just do that a couple times, just to get in. That's where we're focusing, and that's what we're thinking about right now. So the breathing technique I'm going to teach you next is called alternate nostril breathing. And we start out by, you can put your hands like in the hang loose sign, and we're going to put our thumb over our right nostril, and we're going to keep this one loose for just a second, and I'm going to demonstrate it first, and then we can do it together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to block my right nostril, and I'm going to breathe in from my left nostril. And then I'm going to block with my pinky, my left nostril, and I'm going to breathe out with my right nostril. Then, keeping this left nostril blocked, I'm going to breathe in with my right nostril. Then block my right nostril and breathe out. with my left nostril. Continue doing this. I'm going to breathe in with my left nostril. Block, and breathe out with my right nostril. Breathe in with my right nostril. And breathe out with my left nostril. Now continue doing that, alternating. You're alternating, holding your thumb on your right nostril, and you're just flip-flopping. And remember, when it's open, you're breathing out, then breathing in. You're breathing out, then breathing in. You're breathing out, breathe it in. Practice that a few times. What alternate nostril breathing does is it focuses on our breath because we have to pay attention, and also it actually relaxes our parasympathetic nervous system. The next breathing activity we're going to be doing is called breath of fire. And this is something that actually will change the chemistry in our blood. It not only relaxes us, but it changes our body. And it takes your mind off of anything. So I use this one when, right before I was going into a big stressful meeting, or if I had to go and do a presentation in front of 500 angry people for a decision I made when I was a principal. So I have these handy, so I think, okay, what do I need right now? This is an emergency situation. I need to come up with something, and the breath of fire was something I always turned to when I really had to get serious about relaxation. So breath of fire is you're breathing in and you're pushing it out with your nose. Breathing in with your nose, pushing it out with your nose. But breathing in, it comes naturally because we have to breathe. It comes naturally. But the exhale is fast, and I'm going to demonstrate that. As you can see that I'm breathing in, and you can't really see that, but you can see I'm breathing out. And you just do it, and you do it rapidly. And a lot of people will do this. There's some practices called Kundalini is one yoga practice that does it. They'll do it for 30 minutes, and I've tried that once, and I built up to it. You don't just start off doing it. I'd say start off with doing it for 10 seconds and then work your way into something bigger, but it really does help. So I'll demonstrate that again, and then maybe you want to try it right now. Okay, it's called breath of fire. And you automatically breathe in. You really don't pay attention because you're exhaling so rapidly. You're doing it out of your nose and breathing in. So and after you're done, it takes it in for you. So that's called breath of fire, and that's something you can use really just to center yourself and to become grounded. You could do that sitting at a stop sign when things are really getting heated up in your back seat with your kids or whatever's going on. You could do breath of fire. What I'd like to share with you now are a few resources that I draw from and I share with at my yoga retreats. And one of the most powerful books I've read is called The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. And a lot of us have gone through trauma and with life. I mean, it's just life that we have. And so this book, what it does is it talks about the effects of the trauma over time on your body. And it really goes deeply into PTSD and just different things that we might not think of as being traumatic, and how it alters our thinking and alters our physical self and how we react to things. So we might overreact to something and we're wondering why we're overreacting. Well, this is about the trauma we've gone through. If you have anyone in your family, a loved one, or anyone who has either bipolar or PTSD, or any type of trauma-related illness, mental illness, I would highly recommend this book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's a wonderful book on healing trauma, working through it. They focus a lot on the PTSD of our troops, the people who are enlisted, and it talks about how different methods have helped different people who have been through real dramatic situations in the military. Another book I'd like to share is called The Obstacle is the Way.
Sometimes we go about our life and we're thinking that we have situations that are so enormous that we have to face and so terrible that we try to get around them. We try to do everything but face what's coming at us. This particular book, The Obstacle is the Way, it talks about how the way is actually to go through the situation and to do it and come out the other end. And it's how you're getting through it and how you're walking through these fire pits sometimes, and how it'll help you kind of think about it, looking at things differently. We all go through things in our lives, all of us. You can't be on this planet anymore without constantly being barraged by really stressful situations. And this is a good book to help you ground yourself. And we talked a little bit about breathing, and this book is an amazing book about breath. A whole book on breath, breathing, amazing. So this particular book talks about how we don't breathe correctly in our lives. We're mouth breathers, and we don't breathe where we're supposed to be breathing. We breathe up here. So how many of you have gone through your whole day and you get in your car driving home, or you get home and you finally go, that was like the first breath out you've had all day. So throughout the day, you're breathing up here. We're constantly breathing up here. But this book invites you to breathe deeper and breathe into your diaphragm and actually do belly breaths, which is not very popular because we don't want to expand our belly because we don't want to have these tight little bellies. But it talks about using your belly to breathe with and to experience a real true breath. And it's actually more relaxing if we do that. And I found out so many things in this. One is about how if you don't breathe correctly, you can have a manifestation of ADHD. It can lead towards dementia. It can lead towards all kinds of things because we don't breathe correctly. It's pretty startling, the research that's been done on breath work. So I invite you to take a look at this. Another resource I would recommend is the Calm app. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but there's so many different things. Even if you don't like the meditation parts, there's also other things that you could do to experience calmness. So those are some resources, and we'll get back to our next session in a second.
Here's a list of the resources I just mentioned, and I'll leave the screen up for a couple seconds.
Hey there. So I brought you back outside because it's such a beautiful day, and I thought I'd demonstrate a little bit of chair yoga that you could do in your office and anytime you need to relax. And these are things I used to do all the time, and so I could actually vouch for them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit up, seated in our chair, and we're going to do shoulder rolls. And how we do this is you want to make sure your spine is straight. You want to make sure your back is against your chair and your ears are above your shoulders and you're sitting up straight. And you do that because you want to protect your spine. Okay, we're going to start the movement part of our practice, and I'm going to be demonstrating a few different poses that you can do sitting in your chair in your office or at home. So the first thing we're going to be doing is a shoulder roll. And how we start this is we're going to be sitting upright, and we're going to be making sure that our head is above our shoulders and our ears are above our shoulders. You don't want to be slumping forward because at all costs you want to make sure you're protecting your spine and the stretching that goes on in your neck. So basically you're just sitting up and you're going to just slowly roll your shoulders around the back and just kind of just slowly roll these around. Just slowly roll your shoulders. And you're going to do this as often as, as if it feels good, keep doing it. And reverse. And then what I like to do is I like to reach. I like to reach opposite. Almost like you're grabbing something. And you can feel it. Well, I feel it all the way in my arm right here. And I always say that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And so things you see people that can't reach for things anymore because their arms aren't able to because their shoulders have seized up. So that's something you want to make sure you're moving all the time. You're getting your body moving. But the other another part of this same exercise is lift your arms up as tight as you can and just let them drop. Just let them drop, because what you're doing is you're getting that gravity and just dropping it, and you're moving the blood in your body and your blood in your bones. And so anyways, that's the one, and we'll do about 4 more. This stretch is called eagle arms, and many people practice eagle standing up, where you wrap your legs and your arms. In this case, we'll be just wrapping our arms because we're sitting at our desks. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be sitting upright without letting don't touch the back of your chair, and you're going to reach out your arms to the front, and then you're going to take your right arm and put it in the crunk of right here in the bending part of your left arm, and then you're going to continue wrapping until you have your hands together like so. And you're going to keep your hands in front of your face. In fact, I would say keep them in front of your nose, and then you're going to stretch, and you're going to lift it up slowly, very slowly. You're going to lift your hands up. I'm going to move a little bit so you can see me. You'll be lifting your hands up, so you're getting that nice stretch in the back of your body, back. And I feel this stretch all in here and on the other side. So I bend, and remember to keep these hands together, and you're going to be lifting up. And lift up as far as you can go, and then hold that. Hold it for 10 seconds because you need your body to get used to the stretch. And then what you want to do this helps your intestines and all your organs inside. You could actually do a bend. So we'll try that again. This time we're going to bend over, and you're going to be pushing pressure on your abdomen. So you're going to bend over real slow, and you're going to be pushing, kind of just pushing down, and you can put your hands right in between your legs and move down into a deep bend. And the whole time you're putting pressure. These two hands are not just sitting there idly, they're pushing against each other. So you're doing that, your hands are pushing against each other, so you're actually having more of a stretch. This next exercise is called a chair twist, and this is an easy little chair twist that you can do, again, anytime. So you're going to be sitting at the edge of your seat again, and move up and get yourself comfortable, and then you're going to be taking your legs, and you turn your legs so that you're sitting diagonally in your chair. So you're going to bring your legs over to the right, and you're going to sit up tall and straight, and you're going to put your right hand on your left legs and kind of give them a little pressure, and you're going to turn with a straight spine. You're going to turn holding the back of the chair and almost pulling yourself. Pull yourself over. This feels wonderful. Some people love this one because it actually pops their back, and it just feels great to let the pressure off. And you're pushing back on your legs simultaneously. So with your right hand, you're pushing back on your left legs and pulling and stretching. And then you always want to do it. And again, this is another slow activity. You're not going to do this fast because you're working with your spine. And then you're going to turn your legs over to the left now. Put your left hand over your right leg and give that a little pressure. And this hand will go on the back of your chair or in the armchair, wherever you need it to be. And then you're going to be stretching and pulling and pushing on your leg and stretching and turning your head. And what I like to do is I like to look over as far as I can with my eyes, because that actually gets the stretch deeper. And the longer you hold this, you can continuously go deeper into the stretch as you do it. So if I'm looking, I find the farthest place I could look, and then I try to go a little more, and I hold it, and a little more, and hold it. You're only moving a tiny, tiny bit at a time, but it just really helps with moving things around. Okay, our next exercise is actually one of my favorites, and it's called the chest opener. And what it'll help is when we sit in front of a computer, we kind of tend to slunch over, and however we're doing it, you can't help it. You can't help but slump. And so your chest is kind of folded in. So what we need to do is we need to do a chest opener so that we can actually breathe better, and it opens up our heart space. So For this exercise, you're going to be scooching up in the tip of your chair, so you're sitting at the end of your chair, and you're going to take your hands. I'm going to turn my chair over to the side so you can actually see what I'm doing. So you put your hands behind your back, and you can start here, or wherever you're comfortable with. I like to move mine up as far as I can go, and then you're almost pushing your hands on the back a little bit, very gently, and then just keeping your head straight. And again, I'm turning this way, but I normally wouldn't turn that way. But you keep your head straight, and you start looking up, and look up, and get that good stretch up here in your shoulder, in your chest. And hold this for about 10 seconds. And then we're going to do something opposite. We're going to go opposite of this. We're going to go forward. We're going to fold forward. And again, everything here is done slowly, because anytime you're working with the spine or any folds, you want to make sure you're doing things slowly and conscientiously. So we're going to fold over and kind of almost just drape yourself over your legs, but while you're doing it, simultaneously lift up your arms and pull those up as far as you can. I like to point my hands, my fingertips, and get as deep a stretch as you can, and then pull yourself up back. Slowly pull yourself back up. And then I like to continue the stretch until I'm all the way out of it. And the best thing to do with that is to do it slowly and hold each stage at least 10 seconds that you're doing it, just so you give the muscles a chance to really stretch. And that's one of my favorites, like I said. Okay, now we're going to do a neck stretch. So you're going to pull yourself away from the back of your chair again. I'm not sitting against it. And I have my hands on my lap. And this time what we want to do is keep our shoulders facing forward. We don't want to move our shoulders. We don't want to move them in any different. What we're going to be doing is stretching our neck. So what you're doing, you sit up with your ears over your shoulders, like so, and you're going just to lean your neck over. Just lean it over, and you're going to start feeling the stretch right in here in your neck, leaning over. And I would say hold that for 10 seconds. And again, everything here, when we're working with our spine or our neck, we do everything very, very slow. And you're going to stretch it. And I'll give you some modifications in a second. So that's one what you're going to do. The last little tidbit I want to share with you, as another thing I used to do, actually on a daily basis, if not many times during the day, is I would be asked to go to different meetings in different rooms and different places throughout our building. And so I decided that I was going to make that part of my yoga practice. So instead of rushing from one meeting to the next, I would always schedule in a couple extra minutes, even if it was 5 extra minutes or 3 extra minutes, and I would walk a little more slowly. I didn't want to be one of those people that were rushing, all scrunched over, rushing to my next meeting. So what I would do is I'd practice mindful walking. And so to set yourself up for that is you want to make sure when you're walking, you make sure you're standing up with your ears over your shoulders. You're not leaning forward. You're not jutting your jaw forward. You're standing up tall and straight. One way to find out if you're standing up tall and straight is to actually put your body against a wall. So start with your body, your shoulders against the wall, and touch as much of the wall as possible with your whole body, from your heels to your calves, to your buttocks, to your back, to your shoulders, to your head. So all of those parts are touching the wall. And then step away and walk like that. Now it feels funny at first. I practice it, literally I practice this when I'm getting out of the car going to the grocery store. And I practice it. I okay, stand up tall, and then I walk. I don't look like a robot like that, but I walk slowly, and then the mindful part is I'm consciously thinking about walking, not about the meeting I'm going to, because I take this little bit, I call it my little mini vacation from meeting to meeting. I take this little vacation of just think about walking. Think about what my body's doing as I'm walking. Think about, then I'll even turn to the nature around me, the flowers. I'll look at what is that, and I take that extra 5 minutes because that's my time, and I want to take as much time as I can to take myself away from the stressors of life. So I give myself those few minutes just to think about nature or think about my walking. So that's a little, really quick dose of mindful walking, but I would say incorporate that into your everyday, all the time. That's an easy thing, and you could do that, and it's all about your mind and your body. Well, I hope you enjoyed this time we had together. I know it was a short 30 minutes, and I tried to pack a lot of different activities and mindful practices into this session. So I hope it wasn't too rushed for you, and I wish you all the best for this conference. And if you're ever in Bonsall, in the area in San Diego, look me up. I'm at Whispering Lilac Retreat Centers, and I do host one-day retreats. Quite often we do it one about every 2 months. So if you're in the area, look me up, and if not, I hope you find somewhere to practice and some ways to take care of yourself, take care of your body. Your body has to live with you for a very, very long time, and you really want to make sure that you're living your best life for as long as you can. So I wish you the best. Thanks for being here.